Hello, I'm attorney Paul Whalen from Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. Our fees are based on your income, so the less you make, the less you pay. Today, I want to talk to you about when does child support end in Massachusetts? Well, let's take a step back and take a look at child support in general. Child support, as people generally know, is financial assistance that is stems from one parent paid to the other parent for the financial help and raising of the child. So the non-custodial parent pays the custodial parent a sum of money, typically every month, sometimes every week, in order to provide for the child for food, shelter, clothing, everyday expenses. So that is in that child support number comes about by using the child support guidelines formula. So what happens is you take a number of factors, each parent's income, the number of children, uh, who pays health insurance for the child, and how much, and so forth. There are other factors as well. That all goes into a formula, and basically it comes out with a number at the bottom. The bottom line is what the child support is. So that number is pretty well fixed. There's not a lot of wiggle room. That number can be adjusted up or down, but only slightly. So that number is in place until such time as that number is modified by the court, and it can be modified through either of the parties making a motion to modify, to go before the judge again and say, hey, look, the child support is too much or the child support is too little. Circumstances have changed, so that's one of the things that has to be shown in order for a judge to even consider whether or not to modify the child support. So there must be a material change in circumstances from the time of the last order. So perhaps somebody's lost their job, somebody wins the lottery, whatever it might be. There are a number of things that could be considered substantial changes in circumstances. So let's just say that this goes on for a period of time. A lot of times people will ask, well, when does child support end? If it's not contained in the separation agreement itself, uh, people have the understanding that child support ends when the child turns 18. But that's not necessarily true. Typically, what happens is that if the child turns 18 and they are no longer in high school, people think that the child support is over, and the paying spouse sometimes just stops paying on the child's 18th birthday. But that's not the case. That person is still obligated to support the child until the court says that they are not. And typically, commonly, a court can extend child support until the age of 21, sometimes to 23, and sometimes even after that, if there are special circumstances that warrant such an extension. So what happens is sometimes a child who's 18 may still be in high school. Typically they're not, but sometimes they are. If they're still in high school, they're still the paying spouse is still on the hook, basically, to pay that child support. But even afterwards, if the child is still living with the other parent, then the child support is still in place until the judge deems that it's no longer necessary. So some factors when considering whether child support is still necessary once the child reaches 18 years of age and beyond. Some of the factors are what is the child's living situation? With whom do they live? And what is the living situation in that household? Another factor is what is the child's academic status? So is the child still in school? Are they in high school? Are they pursuing some sort of post-secondary degree? Are they going to college? Are they going to a trade school? Something along those lines. If they are, and they're a student, the judge is more likely to extend child support beyond the age of 18. What is the child's cost of education and each parent's contribution to that education? So who's paying for the schooling? That is taken into account as well. The availability of financial aid for the child, that's something else that's looked into. Is the financial aid coming from, is the child receiving financial aid to the point where they are at least to some extent self-supporting? That's something that needs to be looked at by the court. Reasons why the child is still living with the parent, at home with the parent. Sometimes the child has special needs, has special issues. This is the kind of thing that leads to an extended child support order. So even after the age of 21 and 23, does the child have special needs? Are they somehow developmentally restrained, if you will, if they're not able to be a productive member of society as far as earning a living and supporting themselves, it's more likely that a court will extend child support beyond even the age of 23. Um, the reasons why the child is still primarily financially dependent, that goes towards the same sort of thing as why is the child living at home, and what are the custodial parents' finances? Are they able to contribute more than they were at the time of the child support order? And what is exactly going on with them? So those are just some of the issues. But again, I want you to keep in mind that just because your child reaches 18 doesn't mean that it's time for child support to end. It may be that very well may be, and that is something that you would want to explore with first with your ex-spouse, the other parent, if you weren't married. Sometimes parents can come to an agreement where they say, okay, child support's no longer needed, no longer needed. The child's on their own, they're financially dependent, or I can take care of them on my own, or something along those lines. If you do come to an agreement, you still want to go before the judge, because even if you have a verbal agreement with your ex, that doesn't mean that you're off the hook. So let's just take a sort of a cynical example. If you're paying your ex child support, and then the child reaches 18, and the two of you say, okay, you know what, we come to an agreement, you don't have to pay me anymore. Then time goes by, there's no court order that's been put into place. Let's say the relationship that you have with the ex, the camaraderie, if you will, has broken down. If you get into a fight and your ex wants to get back at you, they can turn around to the court and say, hey, look, this guy hasn't paid child support since our child turned 18. I want all the back child support. There's no court order in place that's relieved you of that duty. Now you're probably on the hook for paying a lump sum of child support that should have been taken care of way back when. So the idea of child support is, of course, to support your child financially, something that you should do. But if you're trying to, if you feel that you're no longer should be obligated to do so, you must get a court order modifying that child support. Otherwise, you're still obligated to pay for that support. So that's sort of child support when it ends in Massachusetts. You need a court order in order for the support to be terminated. At Afford Law, we do practice family law and criminal law. We do so on a sliding scale. Our fees are all based on your income. So that means the less that you make, the less we charge for our services. We want to make ourselves as affordable as possible to the hardworking people of Massachusetts. Please feel free to visit us at affordlaw.org, and feel free to book a free virtual appointment with me. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about child support, family law, or criminal law matters in Massachusetts. Because at Afford Law, we're making justice affordable. Thank you.